All right, everybody, welcome back to Master of the Universe podcast. Joey Cage here, along with the Man Beast Gabe and CJK motherfucker to the max, bringing you episode. Let's see, I think it's like 83-ish, something like that. Because I'm getting ready to post. Because 81's the dead zone, 82's pup. So we're 83. Just see this for the record. So today we're doing Puppet Master fucking 2 back to back. From Full Moon, and this is my pick. How's my pick doing today? So y'all guys know Full Moon, man. They only bring the sleaziest shit, and this is a continuation of the Puppet Master, of course, franchise. And we were talking back and forth. I thought the most interesting thing about Puppet Master 1 and 2 for us to really talk about before we get into it too deep is, which one we liked better. And me and the guys were talking, and before we get into all that, I guess I want to ask Chris, dude, which one did you prefer, Puppet Master 1 or Puppet Master 2? I thought they were pretty close, but
yeah, I mean they're both good. Both surprisingly good, in fact, especially when you give both straight to VHS. I mean, they were not super well known in their day, except for cold horror fans. Both of them good story. Both of them, as good of animation as you were going to get. It was at least Child's Play level. I don't know. I guess just because it's more advanced in the time frame. I guess I'm going to say I like Part 2 better.
All right, Gabe, what are you saying between these two?
Oh man, well, they both have their ups and downs, but just like one slight of hair difference is Part 1, and I just like that just that much. It just barely beats Part 2, though Part 2 brings in some new puppets. I have to go with Part 1. Part 1's pretty dope, pretty sleek. I like it.
Yeah, when I was thinking about what I'm going to watch, it's kind of a weird thing to say, but what I'm going to watch more often is Part 2. But if I'm going to watch any of them during Halloween, when you have your set movies, I'd have to watch Part 1 over it than Part 2, just because it's darker and it's just a better horror film. But yeah, Part 2 is something I like better because it's just more fun. You have the puppets doing more, and I like the actors in Part 1 way more, but these seem a little bit more, how would I put it, just funner to be around, but they're the worst actors. I guess that's the biggest thing in when you watch these two is, I guess before we get into too much, this is a continuation, right, of the whole Puppet Master story. So the first one, you guys, if you've seen it, it's all the psychics, they get together at the hotel, and it ends, white meat baby face ending, right, Chris? And
exactly.
in this one they
all happy.
Yeah, and then this one they explain that I'll wait till we get into the details. But here they continue the story. They come back to the motel because something happened to the psychics. Andre Toulon comes back, so now we actually have a film where he's actually in there for longer than 2 minutes, right, blowing his brains out.
Right. And you've got a condemned building because of everything that went down from the end of the first movie.
Yeah, and so
I think it was a federal task force got sent there, and they have to break in illegally, even though they're feds.
That's what I was laughing at. I'm like, why are they worried about breaking in if they're supposed to investigate it? I mean,
they were. I think they were paranormal investigators, but they worked for the government in some way or another. But yeah, they were all concerned about breaking in, and here they break in, and then later on, Andre Toulon, who shows up, he's making claim to the damn place, and they're like, well, we don't have anything on any information or anything that says otherwise, that anyone owns this place. And he's like, yes, don't worry. I will show paper soon.
But, the thing is that he used that working name. It was some, Romanian name he was using. But, it has to be Toulon the whole time. I didn't know for sure as I was watching it. But it just felt like who else would it be? Why would you go to those lengths and you're trying to reclaim something that's supposedly yours, and yet you're this other guy we've never heard of before, and you have this connection with these puppets.
Yeah, it was like his name was like Eric something, Eric Chain something. But yeah, I started laughing too. Like we always talk about this. That's why I like to do the way we do the podcast now. For the folks that don't know, we all pick a movie each, and we give each other, a good 2 or 3 weeks before we actually do it, just to give us, a time to watch one, and then maybe one that we didn't, get a good idea of what we're going to talk about. Maybe watch it again, and you kind of go back and forth. And I end up watching the 3 movies multiple times, at least 2 or 3 times each. And this is one where I was laughing at different spots all the time, and but right away I was laughing at how ridiculous Andre Toulon's accent was, and just the overacting from the moment he steps on screen till the end. Oh, but my whole point is that when you were saying we all knew it was him, where he goes, now he's like, no more this charade or whatever, and she's like, I'm really, and then that chick goes, Andre Toulon.
See, you could have, and see, the thing is, and what really made you suspect from the jump that it's Andre Toulon using a pseudonym is just the fact that the movie starts out with the fucking puppets. And I mean, with their short ass bodies and legs, the distance they had to walk from that hotel to that cemetery would be like us walking from our houses to downtown. But the thing is, they're so dedicated to Andre Toulon, they bring that Egyptian, that phantasm yellow goo liquid that he makes, and and pour it on and bring it back to life. And it's so you already start off showing us that he's gonna be brought back to life. Now he's looking like the Invisible Man.
That's the thing though, is that for Chris, he would have been like, who is this guy, if they didn't show you right away, that with those fucking Total Recall fucking arms. You have seen that motherfucker when he takes off his gloves on Total Recall? It's the black guy, the taxi guy. I got 5 kids to feed. When he takes off his, and it shows he's a mutant. That's how it looked when he's coming back to life. The mutant hands are coming up, and I remember putting this on because I'm glad I get to tell the story on a podcast. So, and I might have told it on part 1 again, but I don't give a fuck. This is where it counts. But I remember watching part 1 for the first time, or just seeing the box, and I was like, oh, I have to get that movie, right, as most of us did growing up back then. And I saw part 3 and part 4 and part 5, and I was always watching. I love them because, the fucking puppets, right? And it was a good couple of years, man, and part 2, I could never fucking find part 2, and it would piss me off. There's nothing worse, right, than you see part 1, part 3, part 4, part 5 in any series, and you don't get to see the one that's directly after it. If it's 1, 2, 3, 4, you never saw part 5, you're kind of like, oh, well, not a real big deal. But the fact that it's right after the first one and right in the middle of all the other, you're really, it aggravates you. So I remember calling my video store, it was a while that I would call once a month at the video store, yeah, Puppet Master 2. And I remember someone had actually go, oh yeah, we should have that. And I was like, what? And I knew, I was like, no, they're probably just thinking because they have all the other Puppet Masters that, oh yeah, we have it. And then I went there, and of course they didn't have it, so I was super disappointed. But yeah, I was pissed. Yeah, dude, it was think about it. You're waiting, and this is whatever, fucking 93 or something like that. I'm like, oh my god, Dad, we gotta go.
And they got it mixed up, and they're saying, no, we have the Page Master.
Yeah, it's Puppet Master 3. Rolling, yeah. I was so fucking pissed, but I ended up. It was so weird. It was after the hype had died down, I must have been 15 or something already, 16. And I was at Hollywood Video, and lo and behold, as my good friend CJK likes to say, I see fucking Puppet Master 2, and I couldn't fucking believe it. I was like, are you shitting me at shitty Hollywood? Not that Hollywood Video is shitty, but no. You would think that the fucking movie rental stores that have the real hard to find stuff would have the hard to find stuff, not fucking Hollywood Video that has kind of the, when you go to Walmart, they have the Walmart toys. They're the ABC basic ones, and for them to have it blew me away. I was like, well, I guess I'm renting this, only to be at the time when I saw it, super disappointed because I was like, man, this is so fucking weird and cheesy that if you compare, I know you haven't seen them all, Chris, but from 1 to 2, you can see how the acting's kind of like dropped off. And part 3, the acting's superb. So this is like the only one, like, and I saw all the other ones already too. So when you go to this one, this is the one that really stands out as far as like, it has the least amount of people.
Quality, I guess.
Yeah, it's really bad quality, and there's not that many people in here, right? When you're watching it.
No.
Like the first one, they have all the people in the hotel when the movie starts. This one, it's just they're paranormal researchers, and then Nancy Mata out there sweating her ass off. You know, that's really it, right? I can't think of anybody else in the motherfucker movie.
I popped for what's his name, Brett from Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, it's her husband, right?
Yep. I recognized him right away.
I shit you not. There was just like a lot of awkward things with this. Pretty much the idea is that from part 1, they already had some guy that was already trying to take control of the puppets and trying to dominate the world, and it didn't work. So it runs into part 2, where they're like, hey, let's bring back the original, Toulon. He was like a badass master. Let's bring him back. So they brought him back, and now the whole idea is trying to bring back his wife, and then from there they'll go ahead and whatever big plans that they have. But the acting and just overall the story, it's just so weird and awkward. And so if in the beginning, if y'all remember when the paranormal investigators first get there, didn't you all find it kind of awkward and weird? Because the girl noticed while she was looking around, she noticed there was something weird with that vase or vase for some people, and she kept looking at it, and she's like, oh, okay, well, nothing, and she ends up talking with her friend. So they're chit-chatting. All of a sudden, boom, it breaks, and there's like shit like on the wall and the floor, and they come to investigate it, but it's on the other side of the wall. It's like on a completely different, like, someone picked it up, ran around the corner, and then threw it at the fucking wall. I was like, it's not even in alignment. Even if it was the puppet, what the fuck? What the hell are they thinking about to go ahead and pick something up, walk all the way around the wall, and then fucking throw it? I was like, I don't know. That just seemed a bit off-putting. And then same thing with them arguing. Like, some of the characters, they're like, hey, we just had sex. I'm gonna go downstairs and hang out with, with the girl.
Yeah.
What? Why would you go down there? She's by herself? Yeah. Well, why is that guy yelling?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand it's a dramatic moment, I guess, but it just seems over-exaggerated. There's a lot of that in this fucking movie.
Bad acting, but also stupid scenarios to put them in, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's forcing them to do, like, okay, we need someone to die, so y'all start. It seemed kind of like they kind of almost like they were like, okay, let's have you die. How are we gonna have you die? And like, it wasn't well thought out. And like, I had told y'all, I was like watching it, I was like laughing how quick everything is like escalated to where, one of the I forget, I'm not good with any of the names of any of the movies we saw because I don't pay attention to names, but the older lady that shows up and is she psychic or something? Well, I know right. Yeah, she freaks out like right away and she takes off, right? But she has a son that comes and looks for her, and the son shows up like midway through the fucking, like literally midway in the movie, like at least 30 minutes I'm gonna say in. And he's like a main character, and he's the one that's like with the main chick at the end. It seems so awkward when she's going to go do whatever she's going to do, and he's like, no, you can't go. I won't let you. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like...
Actually, if you remember earlier, before he even showed up, they already introduced him. But it was such a funny moment when they introduced him, though, because the lady ends up going missing. She's supposed to be the psychic reader for this group.
Yeah.
And she warned them all, saying, hey, there's something bad here, some bad juju. I can't be here, and for your all's sake, I really hope y'all leave too. I'm planning on leaving. Oh, okay. You're gonna leave right now? No, I'm gonna leave in the morning. Don't worry. Anyway, she goes on missing, and they can't seem to find her. They don't know anything of where she is. They don't know squat. So they go ahead and call her son.
Yeah.
They
You're
call
not
her
Camille.
son. He's on the
Yeah,
phone.
Camille. Yeah.
They talk to him, and then they go ahead and say, "Oh no, he said it's fine that she's missing. She does this all the time."
Yeah, that's it.
Crazy old mom. She just gets out and walks around, leaves for a few days. She always comes back.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like so nonchalant about it. They're like, "Oh, okay, well, she does this all the time. It's normal." Then all of a sudden, he shows up like, I don't even think it was a day, right? He showed up hours later. Now he's all concerned.
Yeah.
He's all, "I just came looking for my mom." "Oh no, you must be the son. We have plenty of room in this hotel. Why don't you stay?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh," he's all, "Thanks. I'll take you up on
I'll take you up on that. Yeah, dude. That's exactly.
Like most people would say, like, "No, it's okay. I don't want to intrude," or something like that. That would be like more of a polite common response. This guy's like, "I'm going to take you up on that."
He's like, "Hell yeah, what do you got to drink?" You know what I'm saying? You know, he's like,
"Let's get crunk."
Yeah, dude, he's ready to have a good time. Don't need nothing. Yeah, dude, it's having fun.
Also, too, by the end of this movie, that guy is so awkward, though. He goes ahead and they had like a big old battle with Toulon and the puppets and the whole deal, and so they end up burying the main actress. Her brother ended up getting killed by one of the puppets. Yeah. So they end up having like a funeral, where they buried him. Well,
they just bury him out there. It's fucking hilarious.
They bury him right near the damn hotel resort. So they bury his ass out there, and then the guy, the one that his mom has been missing, he comes out and he's all like, "Oh, we never did find my mom. What for? And what's the deal with those puppets?" And his supposed love interest ends up replying, "Oh, don't worry, your mom's in the hotel, but it's not your mom. Don't worry." And they kiss, and then that's it. So I was like, okay, so we're not going to get any closure on the mom. We're just going to pretend this guy was all right with leaving his mom in the hotel.
Skipping to the end, just with talking about the mom, since she's I thought it was crazy as fuck when all of a sudden you think the movie's over and she's made up to be like a life-size puppet, dude. I was really fucking freaked out and disturbed with the way the face was and all that, and just the accent. And I really wish they would have kept going with that, because that's disturbing. That whole fucking life-size puppet and the way she's kind of talking, and the puppets are there. It kind of feels like the puppets are finally where they belong. But the fucking brother gets killed by, I think, Tunneler, right? And then someone jumps in there and ends up killing. This is probably the highest puppet kill count, where as far as for them dying, because they killed Tunneler almost right away, and then Leech Woman gets her ass fucking cooked. So there's two main puppets down right away. I kind of was pissed off. I was like, man, you can't just go be killing them right in the middle of the fucking movie, so.
And Lance, the one that looks like Greg Evigan, which if anyone listening to this ever watched the show My Two Dads, or Tech Wars, exactly what I'm talking about. Lance and Wanda, they had that fling. But Lance, he saves the day, or not saves the day because he does die from Tunneler, but he kills Tunneler, and then, what's his name, other homeboy, he dissects him, and he's like, wow, it's a completely self-contained system. Yeah. It must be this fluid. Because there's no motor. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. Is it Blade that kills him?
If it kills, was it Lance?
Yeah, because I know
I think it is Blade.
Yeah, because I know, him, what Gabe was saying, him and that chick bang, and then she, leaves the room, and she comes back, and he's, I think his throat was cut or something like that.
Right. Yeah. And then I think they just ended up gutting his ass.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about how all these puppets are how they ended up surviving as long as they did. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have video cameras set up for these paranormal investigators, and that's how they ended up catching Tunneler, the first one. They caught him sneaking into the room, so they caught that, and they were able to. They got there a little too late. He ended up killing the brother of the main actress. So, but they they don't really go as far as like really killing them. I don't know what it is that really considers them dead.
Yeah.
Because they get injected with this formula that brings them to life. During the movie, they end up scanning him so they can see the puppet, like the insides, like why is it able to move and do what it can do? But they're saying that it's full of just gears. The way they ended up, I guess, supposedly killing him, they just threw him against the wall. The guy got a lamp and then just started slamming it on the damn doll. The doll didn't even break in half or anything. He seemed pretty well intact, you know, with just judging from the scans, like they show it on a big TV screen. Well, not a big one, but like a normal TV screen, and they do a close-up on it. And so it's kind of like, I mean, is it really dead? I mean, how can you really tell? So they do this with the other puppets throughout the movie. They end up grabbing them, throwing them around, kind of slamming them against, but they're not dead. Yeah. And again, I'm not sure even how you would even what's considered killing them. I mean, Leech Woman, of course, burned. You know that. I mean, that goes with the majority of things. Is that you just burn the shit out of them. But
if you burn,
but how would you? But I'm with you on that. I think the thought is, how do you quantify or signify someone is, finger in air quotes, dead? I mean, because like, first of all, these are like things that shouldn't even be really alive, and they're fucking puppets or fucking dolls. So if you have this fucking ooze that can bring people like, anytime someone dies, you pour this Egyptian mystic ooze on them and they come back to life, then is anyone ever really dead?
Again, that's what I was kind of. I think if you get the ooze to come out of their body, just like losing blood, I think that would technically try to kill them off. So you just got to make sure that they bleed it all out, because anything left of that secret green formula, I think that's what's really going to keep them alive. But it's weird because these things, I kind of feel like you can pour that shit on anything, and right, that shit would bring it to life. Because when they were investigating the damn dolls, when they cut open the main tunneler, they ended up cutting him open and doing scans. They said he was just made up of like gears and little knickknacks, things that would just make it tick. Nothing organic really, but they said it takes organic fluid, but for some reason it brought it to life. So I mean, does that really work for anything else? Like, say if it was filled with fluff or something. I mean, if you
pour it all over your car and shit, it just starts taking off on its own.
Exactly. I'm late for work.
Fucking transformer.
Damn battery died. Let me turn it on and shit.
Yeah, it's not. You'd be thinking all day with how the fuck these fuckers work, because I think it changes. Like, well, they kind of talk about it. I saw a review the other day about part 1. I didn't really notice it till someone had pointed it out. It's like he's painting Jester, and he like does something like. It's the Toulon in the first one. He puts his hands over his face. He's like alive, or he says something, and that's when Jester spins around. He's all like, "So that's the explanation in this film." And I was like, I wonder if it is, or they just kept on changing it, because I don't. Well, they talk about the formula, but does he inject him? Yeah, he does inject himself in the first one, right? There's some kind of
right.
Yeah.
He does.
So it's kind of like mixed all over the place as far as.
But we learned something about this formula though in this movie. So it's not just a bunch of like herbs and liquids and stuff like that. There's a certain part, I forgot the exact part, but there's a certain part.
It's brains.
Yeah.
They're going to in the movie. Andre Toulon ends up sending the puppets out to go and look for brains, and he needs them fresh because when he goes, when the puppets go out to try to get brains from this one woman, Martha. She's like a kind of a country hick that lives out there in the middle of nowhere, and she gives them hell, and they end up putting a fight up. Anyways, one of the newer puppets, which is Torch.
Yeah.
He does exactly that to the woman. He ends up burning her. So here comes Blade. After she's burnt to a crisp, he goes ahead and cuts her brains out, brings it back home, and he's like, "I can't use this. It's fucking burnt. You need to be more careful." And he insults them. He's you need to be more careful with your abilities. And I'm like, anyways, these puppets are extra sensitive. You That's what happened in the first one. You insult them, and then they turn on you like in an instant.
Yeah, I was laughing when he kind of like talks about like, oh, you did good, and you didn't, cheat or take an easy way and get animals' brain. Can you imagine if that would, if you did that, and then Jester kind of makes the face like, oh, we did do that. And then later on, fucking, he goes like, yee, he does that like pig noise. He's like, animal brains. I started laughing, dude, because I was like, when you pay attention and when you see that ending first, and then you watch it again, and you see like Blade put his hand up, like, don't say anything, like, shh, fucking. But yeah, good fun ass movie. They have I love that Invisible Man gimmick.
Yes.
And the overacting. The guy, he's the only real actor in the movie, but of course he's overacting, and it's a ton of fun. They got Blade, Jester, Pinhead, Tunneler, Leechwoman, and Torch. They have this flashback in Egypt where they show Andre Toulon with his wife, who the chick that's like one of the parent, I think her name's Carolyn, right? Yeah, Carolyn, the main redheaded chick who's pretty damn fine. Yeah. She's also plays Toulon's wife Elsa, in the flashback, and I never noticed that till like I was watching it this time. I'm like, man, I don't pay attention to shit, and I started laughing. I was like, oh man, that's the same person, and so they fucking, Toulon's trying to get himself into like a puppet body, and that puppet body is actually like Elsa's, supposed to be puppet body, but that's when they give it to Camille. So pretty cool little twist. I don't know if you guys got anything else to say about it, or if you want to rank this motherfucker.
I just got to say, like, I mean, Gabe, I'm going to disagree just because I didn't feel like in the first one or second one that the puppets are just uber sensitive. I just feel like it's more like something always happens with their leader, whether it's Gallagher in the first one or whether it's, this Invisible Man reincarnation in a puppet Toulon in this one. It's always that they feel like they got used and are going to get nothing back, and that they got used for things that maybe even cross their own moral boundaries, to the extent that diabolical puppets can have moral boundaries, and it pisses them off, and then they go against the guy.
Well,
yeah, that's a good way of looking at it too. It kind of like, but I kind of feel like that kind of crosses the whole puppet master. Like, are they technically a puppet master if they say what? They're no longer a master unless they have to watch what they say without insulting these things. Because I would think these are like, the way they describe them, how they're built, they're just inanimate objects. They're just like things that are just sitting there. You bring them to life, and now all of a sudden they have morals and high grounds and stuff. I was like, these things shouldn't. I was like, why are they all emotional? Like, why are they even showing any kind of empathy or anything like that? I mean, the puppet master gave them orders. They need to do it. Why are they turning on their damn master? They shouldn't have to. They should be taking orders like little soldiers. I mean, that's the whole point of being the puppet master. But now it's just like, oh, y'all are just puppets, and there's technically no master. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe just the name of it, Puppet Master, is just a nice gimmick towards all that.
It just sounds cool.
Yeah. I think that probably might be the issue. I think it just sounds neat.
But nomenclature is half the appeal.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that's my idea on this. For part 2, man, revisiting this one after like so long, I'm gonna have to go with. It's somewhat rewatchable. Even the sex scenes that usually what I watch them for, it's not even that great. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with a solid 6.
All right,
flat out 6.
No, yeah, I mean, I liked it. It wasn't as good as I remember it. I do like the chick with the short black hair, dude. She's sexy as hell. So because of her, we give it a 6.8, dude, out of 10. So. CJ?
7.5. I mean, it's as good as it's as good as a movie as you're ever gonna have for a straight to VHS film. Budget of $750,000, I think. It's 1991. They had the Child's Play level CGI, if you want to call it that. Yeah, but it was just fucking fun. These These Puppet Master movies are fun. Like I will like next Halloween season, whatever you want to call it. I will watch 1 and 2 again. Probably even 3 if I like 3, which y'all are saying I will. So hopefully I'm once again pleasantly surprised.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll see you on the next one.
You got to be shitting me. That mother's strong.
Peace.
Peace.
I'm out.